The sun had barely begun its ascent over the horizon when Elara stepped out of her modest home on the outskirts of Eldoria. The air was crisp, tinged with the scent of damp earth and pine from the nearby forest. A cool breeze tousled her dark curls as she inhaled deeply, savoring the quiet stillness of dawn. But something felt different this morning, an unshakable feeling, like the whisper of a forgotten memory calling her name. Eldoria was a town steeped in time, nestled between rolling hills and dense woodlands. Its cobblestone streets wove between quaint cottages adorned with ivy and vibrant flowers, their window panes reflecting the golden hues of sunrise. Though Elara had lived here all her life, the town still held secrets, and she had made it her mission to uncover them. Her mornings always began the same way. First, a brisk walk through the mist-laced streets, then a stop at Mrs. Hargrove's bakery. The scent of warm bread greeted her before she even reached the door. "Up early again, dear?" Mrs. Hargrove asked, handing Elara a fresh loaf wrapped in brown paper. Elara smiled, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "Habit, I suppose. Can't help but wonder what the day might bring." Mrs. Hargrove chuckled. "With that curious mind of yours, I imagine adventure isn't far behind." Elara laughed softly, but as she turned to leave, the feeling returned, that faint, nagging sensation that something was waiting for her just beyond the edge of her understanding. As she wandered through the market square, she exchanged greetings with the early risers. Old Mr. Thorne, the blacksmith, waved a soot-streaked hand from his forge, while his daughter Clara paused to share the latest town gossip. "Did you hear about the old well?" Clara asked, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Some say they heard voices echoing from it last night." Elara frowned, intrigued. The well had stood at the heart of Eldoria for as long as anyone could remember, its stones worn smooth by centuries of use. Legends surrounded it, tales of hidden tunnels and a kingdom swallowed by time. Most dismissed them as myths, but Elara had always wondered if there was more to the stories. As Clara continued talking, Elara found herself drawn toward the town center. The well stood there, silent and unassuming, its weathered stones bathed in the soft light of dawn. A chill ran down her spine. She stepped closer, peering over the edge. Darkness yawned beneath her, stretching into depths unknown. And then, just as she was about to turn away, she heard it, a whisper, faint as the wind, yet unmistakably real. "Elara!" Her breath caught. She stumbled back, heart pounding. The town square remained unchanged, the townsfolk oblivious to what she had just heard. Had she imagined it, or had the past finally begun to speak? One thing was certain, she had to find out. The rest of the morning passed in a haze of curiosity and distraction. Elara went about her daily errands, but her thoughts remained tethered to the well. Every sound, every fleeting gust of wind seemed to echo that whispered voice in her mind. The name. Her name. By midday, she found herself in the town's modest library, a quiet refuge filled with aged parchment and dust-laden tomes. The librarian, an elderly man named Aldrich, peered at her over his half-moon glasses as she approached. "Back again, Elara," he mused, setting aside a thick volume. "What are you chasing today?" She hesitated before answering. "The well." Aldrich's expression shifted, his fingers briefly tightening over the book's worn cover. "The well," he repeated, lowering his voice. "What about it?" Elara leaned in slightly. "I heard something this morning, a voice, it called my name." Silence stretched between them, the usual comfort of the library now carrying an air of unease. Aldrich exhaled slowly, pushing his glasses up the bridge of his nose. "There's an old tale," he said at last, "one most have forgotten. The well was once believed to be a passage to a kingdom lost to time, a place swallowed by the earth, its people cursed to remain unseen." Elara felt a chill despite the warmth of the sunlit room. "A kingdom?" Aldrich nodded. "They called it Altheris, the kingdom of echoes. Some believed its ruins lay beneath our very feet, hidden in an endless labyrinth beneath Eldoria." The name sent a shiver down Elara's spine. She had never heard of Altheris before. "And you believe it?" Aldrich hesitated, then gave a small, enigmatic smile. "I believe history has a way of revealing itself to those who seek it." Elara left the library with more questions than answers. If the well truly held a secret passage, why had no one ever explored it? Why had she been the one to hear the voice? That evening, as the town quieted and the lanterns flickered in the growing dusk, she found herself back at the well. This time, she came prepared, a lantern in one hand, a rope in the other. She knew the risks, but curiosity burned within her, hotter than fear. With a deep breath, she tied the rope securely to an old iron post nearby and tested its strength. Then, gripping the lantern tightly, she lowered herself over the edge, descending into the unknown. The darkness swallowed her whole.